Well, as we follow the crisis in Ukraine, Russian forces continue to take aim at civilian targets in Ukraine as millions are trying to escape the violence. Joining us now is Dr. Vaughn Shannon, professor of political science at Wright State University. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's start with Ukraine refusing Russian demands to surrender Mariupol today, with the besieged port city being the focal point of this war, turning into a devastating humanitarian crisis. So what do you think will come next after Ukraine has refused to lay down their arms?
Well, unfortunately, I believe Mariupol is going to see even more devastation and concentrated force to take the city, and Russia likely will take the city. Russia has got nothing to show for their efforts yet, and they feel they probably can't afford to lose this particular battle. They're looking for a land route from Crimea to the Donbass region in the east, and I think the minimum they'd entertain is some face-saving compromise that would leave Crimea, Donetsk, and Luhansk in their hands and protection. And Mariupol is between those lands.
Yeah, Russia also unleashing a deadly attack in the center of Kyiv last night, attacking a shopping center, killing at least 8 people. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky calling the latest round of attacks against his country war crimes. We keep asking, could Russian President Vladimir Putin face any repercussions for the deaths of innocent people?
Yeah, so there's the rhetoric of war crimes, and then there's the legal burden of proof of war crimes. Zelensky, Biden, and others have made the accusations, and certainly there's plenty of evidence that what they're doing is targeting civilians. But in the international system, the legal burden of proof is conducted through the International Criminal Court. They've opened a file and are collecting data in real time in the midst of the conflict. But enforcement of war crime charges against leaders of sovereign states is pretty hard to come by without the willing accomplices in their apprehension within the country, in this case, Russia. It's happened before. Serbia's Slobodan Milosevic was handed over by authorities from Serbia. But I would say it's unlikely they'd get to Vladimir Putin himself.
Yeah, and then lastly, NATO officials see the Russian-Ukraine war entering a bit of a stalemate, with those Ukrainian forces preventing Russia from making progress, but Russian President Putin showing no willingness to back down. How long do you think this can go on?
Yeah, unfortunately, it could be a while. The bombing has not yielded much gain for Russia, but has inflicted a lot of pain. And serves as part of a strategy of coercive diplomacy to convince Ukraine's leaders to accept the terms that Russia has laid out. Wars either end in decisive victory by one side, or in this case, more likely, it'll be a hurting stalemate when both sides realize they can't win and the costs are just too high and not worth it. Even then, wars tend to only end when there's a sense of a way out or a deal both sides can live with, and that's hard to do quickly because each side has lost so much and has a lot on the line, or they have overconfidence and optimism that they can still prevail. So Russia's mounting loss of generals, their economic woes, the lack of battlefield victories could cause them to find an acceptable exit ramp sooner, but we're probably still looking at months, I'm afraid.
All right, well, we will be following this every step of the way. Dr. Vaughn Shannon, professor of political science at Wright State University, thank you for joining us here today for 5 on 2.